Hello, I'm James, and I'm an old guy in Europe. Hello, and welcome to another episode of An Old Guy in Europe. Again with Carl Munson on the Good Morning Portugal Show. While talking about my search for an apartment in Espinho Portugal, we also managed to talk about using coffee machines versus making your own coffee, computer printers and sales schemes, a Portuguese language television series, and a song good for learning Portuguese, and Scottish bagpipes and my genetic heritage. So, as always, I invite you to please sit back, relax, and enjoy. Bom dia!
Woo! Feel that heat from the audience. A nice warm hand on your opening there, James. How are you?
Stop it. Not now.
The time and a place.
Yes.
How are you?
Sure.
How are you?
Oh, fantástico, obrigado.
Right. And you had a busy week, didn't you?
I did. Week? I have a couple observations before we get too far into it.
Is it about the coffee machine?
Because I've done the math on the coffee.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that when you buy the cups, they're pre-made and they're basically non-destroyable when you get rid of them. Mm-hmm. So they leave your house, but then they stay somewhere forever. Mm-hmm. They make stainless steel cups that fit these coffee machines. So you can pack your own coffee, make your coffee, and clean your cups. And you get it with the same ease, other than that you have to put some coffee in one of those cups to make
I can't be bothered with all of that.
That's too much work. I'll just pollute the planet for the rest of my life.
Yeah. That's all right. I mean, you're right, though. There is no such thing as throwing something away. It's just being moved somewhere else.
It just leaves your house, yes. Yeah. Unless it's compostable and you're composting it. Then, then it still goes somewhere else, but it goes somewhere that's helpful.
Yes. Yes.
And then I did the math because I make my own coffee every day. I have a little, I guess they call them Italian coffee makers. So I put the coffee in the little straining cup and pack it down. And
did you say Italian?
I think so. I don't know what they're called. It's a coffee maker.
One that screws together and sits on the stove,
Yeah, and then it boils water up through, percolates, and makes a beautiful, delicious cup of coffee.
It does.
And when I did the math on it, and again, if I'm looking at the environment, the packaging is probably going to last forever too, just on the coffee itself. But it's one bag. It lasts me. Well, I only have one coffee a day, which makes it easy to calculate. But it lasts me over a week each bag. The bag of coffee costs me €1.59, and I get 7. I think it's 2 weeks, so I get 14 cups of coffee.
Yeah,
from one bag of coffee grounds, and I broke it down. It cost me about 5 cents per cup.
Wow. Okay, so that is
versus really, $12 or $7 or whatever, or euros for a box of your little pre-packed cups. So economically. And I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it mostly do the most I can to not add to the negative footprint on the planet.
Point taken. And that's why I haven't got one so far. I'm just thinking if I had one on the desk here, I probably would make a coffee during the show. If you're watching Delta, if I had one on the desk here, I would make a coffee during the show, Delta.
And talk about it.
And possibly talk about it quite a lot, Delta.
Hello.
Hello, is anyone there from Delta? Because that's the one I really want. I do know. And that's because I love the whole Delta vibe and story. Rui Nabeiro, I think, the founder, great Portuguese company. Do like Delta and the association with Delta. So I would Did I mention that if I had a Delta coffee machine on the top here, I might make a coffee during the show, Joe?
So if I'm hearing you correctly, if you had a Delta coffee machine, you would make your coffee on your show and talk about it.
You're right. Absolutely.
Is that what I heard correctly? Delta, right?
That's a good idea. Yes, Delta. Right. Okay. I'll make that a clip and send that across the internet and see what happens. Right. Maybe Intermarché will bring me one of theirs. I'll have 5 on here, and then you'll never speak to me again because I'll be surrounded by thousands of indestructible plastics. Little cups.
There you go. Well, they won't go to the machines won't go to the landfill. You just fill your kitchen with them.
Yes, I'll start a cafe. I had to open a cafe. Right. Okay. Yeah. Point taken on that. And of course, you know, when the reason. That was you. It was JMC saying that's how they get you fixed to their coffee. Of course it is, and that's how any of these what are they called, consumable systems work. That's why printers are cheap, isn't it? Because you have to keep buying their ink.
Yeah. Well, and then back in the 19th century, some genius decided that it would be that they made, I don't know the exact history of it, but kerosene became a thing. But then nobody was using it for anything. So the people that were producing the kerosene made lamps and gave them away.
Wow. Okay.
People said you need this liquid to make them run, but look at how well they run.
Who was that person? Yeah, and thereafter that became a thing, didn't it, to smart marketers the world over?
Yeah. So, and I don't know if they set the model for that capitalist marketing strategy or not, but it certainly works.
Based on
give them the thing that uses what needs to be used over and over and over and over, and then make a mint on the thing that you're.
That's right. That's right. Get it in the house. That's the important thing, isn't it? I buy an espresso. But then again, how many people have got a printer? If we could do a quick poll here this morning, how many people have got a printer here that they can't get to work, which is a backfire for HP or Epson who tried this on us? It's just got more and more complicated now, this whole printer thing. And then the printers arrive now without I was going to call it a manual cable, but you know what I mean? They're network printers.
They're all Wi-Fi oriented.
They don't have a port on them. They have a power input, and that's it. And you have to somehow coax it onto your home network. And then
there's some tech person out there just shaking their head. Oh my god.
Well, yeah. Well, also and rubbing their hands, right? Because
opportunity.
It's so easy.
Anish, get your printer running. That's all I do.
Yeah, going from house to house, getting people's printers running. They would fall at your feet and kiss you at the right times when you try to get a printer running.
I really needed this. Thank you so much.
That's right. I'm going to name my child after you.
What's your name?
Mr. Printer. What? That's a terrible name for my child. Right.
I also wanted to comment on the Portuguese phrase that you put out there. I don't know whether it's correct or not. Okay. But it reminded me, because I've been watching this series on Netflix, which is due to expire soon. It's been on a long time. And there's a name of a song. I believe the name is Eu Vou Contigo. Mm-hmm. Which means I will go with you.
Yes.
And it was such a beautiful song, and it was just done, in a wedding scene. The person was singing the song at the wedding reception.
Yeah.
That I probably did an hour's worth of research to try and find out who sang it and what the name of it was and all the rest of it. I never succeeded. I used a song recognition app that said, this one's a tough one, can't find it. But to me, it's not often that any piece of music just grabs me like that. And this one was, of course, there's two things going on. Let me finish the music one. This one caught me, and it's all in Portuguese, so it repeats a lot, and it's slow. So I said, this would be perfect for acquiring some of the sound of the words in the language and learning the phrases, because some of the music is so fast, or there's all this instrumentation behind you, you can't really hear the words. There's lots of, if I want, for now, as a language learner, it'd be nice to get music that I can at least hear the words so that I can begin to repeat and learn. So there's that piece. The other piece is that the show itself is a Portuguese, I don't know. It's not a drama. It's not a comedy. It's just whatever that is. But it's a series. and it's all in Portuguese. And it's basically about a Portuguese family, 3 generations living in the same household, just trying to get through their life. And it's sweet. You know, you don't ever have to worry that someone's going to die violently, or, you know, it's just them living their lives. And sometimes it's funny and sometimes it's sad. But if you have Netflix, Netflix, or you listen, no, I highly recommend it. And it's only I think there's only 8 episodes, so it's not like a 26 episode kind of thing. So
yes, and the name of it again?
It's called, well, in English, it's Until Life Do Us Part.
Oh, yes. We, you or somebody has mentioned this before.
Yeah, I think that was me the last time.
Yes.
And because its time is getting short on Netflix, I wanted to get the word out because I highly recommend it as an opportunity to learn the language, but also it's entertaining.
Yeah.
It might not be exactly your genre or something, but in terms of getting an all Portuguese language show on an international, mostly English-speaking platform.
Well, we do have to find the way that suits our learning style, don't we? And deep dive into it. I think that's really important. And if watching things is your way, what a great idea. Mr. S watches shorts in Portuguese, which he finds very helpful to improve oral comprehension. Very good.
Are they at the store, or are they on People, or where are those shorts?
Well, like as in small pants.
Oh, look, they've got shorts.
Do you mind, Mr. S? You're going to get arrested if you keep
nice shorts.
That
was just a glimpse into what my head does all the time.
We know what you mean, really. And also a Nespresso fan, maybe identifying with the George Clooney campaign.
They're finally getting a clue and getting recyclable, of course.
That
could mean in 1,000 years they will degrade, or it could mean that as soon as they get wet they dissolve. They
all get sent to George Clooney, and he's going to build an Earthship with them in the New Mexico desert.
There you go.
I'd buy on that basis.
Well, I saw a very creative use of them at one of the Portuguese shops where they kind of sell a little bit of everything. It looks like a little hardware store, but they have kind of everything in it.
Oh yeah.
In Ericeira, and they use them as their fly curtain in their doorway. They just string them up right side by side, so they go clack 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 when you walk through them. But I don't know how effective they are keeping the flies out. I said, well, there's a creative use of all those coffee cups.
It is a creative use until we have the scourge of the African coffee fly.
There you go. It's attracted by the faint fragrance of coffee.
Saharan
sand. Them very thoroughly.
That's right. Saharan sand, followed by the African coffee fly. Dan is disgusted at me. I know for a fact about the using the spoon. What about you, James? Spoon or straight in your gob? With the
I like the sweet with the pastry, so I shove it in my mouth and chew it up.
I think Dan does too. He wasn't at all happy with me on this. I know. He stepped out of the shadows of social media to tell me.
But that's where I put my comment. And people say, "What's the best way?" It's like the best way is the way you want it.
I thought you were talking about coffee. You're talking about pastel de natas.
Well, apply it to anything.
Yes,
it works.
Very happy because my NFL team is going to the Super Bowl. When's that happening?
Mine is not.
Sorry to hear that. Rocks aren't recyclable, and the planet is over time. They are, aren't they? Who's that? Guy?
And the main point ultimately is the planet's covered with them. So what do you want your planet covered with? Coffee cups or rocks? I'll take the rocks, thank you. And trees and flowers and
that sort of thing. Bom dia from Mel. Okay, public service announcement. Is anyone else having problems with internet in the past 24 hours in this weather? It does happen. The service
use that one. So
and Ocean Dweller, Aviva, morning to you. Enjoying your correspondence. Good to hear from you. I love the idea of eating.
Stay tuned, Aviva. I've got news.
Okay, stay right where you are. I will try it next time. There you go. She's not afraid to give it a go. The nata sans all the goo is actually quite appealing. Oh, so just the pastry.
I think the nata is the goo.
Yeah,
in
but John maybe
Portuguese,
just
isn't it?
wants the pastry, or maybe it's like Jack Spratt and his wife. It's the abundance of the goo that's a bit off-putting to me. If I share most of the goo bit with Pam, I'd be all over the
Yeah,
bit. There you
more
go.
like frosting on your pastry as opposed to just a mouthful of it.
It's the perfect marriage, isn't it? Of someone
Yeah.
who wants the pastry and someone who wants the goo. And goos do vary. The particular nata that I set about.
That's our new name for it, goo.
Well, it does vary because, as I said, the man in the lovely man who makes the best chicken pie in Western Europe, some of the best croissants in Portugal outside of France, and pastel de natas. His way of doing the pastel de nata or the pastiche is to make a very runny custard. And he was telling me it's hot, quente, cuidado. Because it was just out the oven and it was like molten custardy goo, and they don't ever set very hard. Whereas, one that you might get in a petrol station, a gas station, was made in an industrial unit just outside Lisbon, and that bad boy is set with pork fat. That's right. You could feel it on the top of the roof of your mouth for 2 days afterwards. They turn the capsules into items. I get bags sent back to the store in the US. There you go.
Okay.
Nice one. Cheers, Mr. S.
Well, and ultimately, if things get turned into bags in Portugal, it's great. As soon as someone buys, I forgot my bag, I'll just buy another one, which is great. But then you got to 10 million plastic bags that you have to deal with somehow.
I've got bags. Yeah, I've got bad bags for Buddhist.
It definitely slows the process, and I'm not going to begrudge taking plastic that would otherwise just go into a landfill and doing something with it. Making plastic furniture or whatever is great, but we can only do so much of that before that becomes a problem. So,
well, there you go.
We got to deal with the plastic issue.
Yeah. Thank you, James. Now, news then. I don't think we're going to have Bob and Viv with us this morning in person. I've got a little video to play. So if you do need a few extra minutes, you're very welcome to use them. What happened in the north of Portugal?
Well, a few minutes for me could always turn into a few hours. So I'm never worried about that. So I went up to Espinho on Thursday because I had a viewing. One, it's kind of an expensive viewing when you look at it. It's like, okay, a bus fare, a train ride, or a metro ride, a train ride. Anyway, a lot of time invested in getting, and then a night stay on top of it. But I've been working with Vitor Costa at Portuguese Door or Portugal Door. And he's been great. So I definitely highly recommend him in any kind of relocation. He's primarily in real estate, sales, and primarily, I think, a buyer's representative, but I think he will also, I think he does it all in real estate. But being who he is, he's always kind of finding a place where he can take what he's become more and more expert on and apply it. And one of those is helping to relocate people who are already in Portugal or people who are looking for places to live, whether a house or renting. In my case, it's renting. And because I contacted him through the show and we have been familiar with each other for a while, he was willing to help me in Espinho, even though he's way up in Ponte Lima, which is, if you know the geography, it's not exactly just a little 10-minute trip. At any rate, he's been helping me. He's very collaborative, and so I ended up getting most of the referrals because I was posting on Facebook Espinho sites and saying, "Hey, I'm looking for a place," and then people would contact me, and I'd say I'm working with Vitor at Portugal Door, and I gave them contacts, and then he did all the stuff, which was for me that's the best part, is I didn't have to try to figure this out or that out. I just sent it to him and he worked it out. He had a sense of what it was I was looking for, and I was being very particular because I'm trying to realize the dream I had when I got here, which is always to be within a 5-minute walk of the beach. And even though I love Ericeira, it has my heart. It's just, but walking is not really a thing. From where I live right now, it's 4.5 kilometers to the beach. So it's not exactly a short walk just to get there. It's a longer walk coming back because it's all uphill coming back, all downhill there. And then once you're there, it's just incredibly, I say it's not hills, it's not little hills, it's mountain climbs. So, you know, it's just because I consider moving closer to the beach in Ericeira. It's like, well, I'm still have to be a mountain climber just to get to the beach and back. So it doesn't take me as long, but I'm just less inclined because I've owned my lazy. I'm not going to, I don't want to work out to take a walk, a casual stroll to the beach. So that and a whole lot of other things. Espinho caught my eye. I've talked about the history of that before. And so I've been actively looking, and it's taken me 3 or 4 months from when I said, okay, I'm ready to go, to having places to look at. And I think in reality, in terms of actual viewing, my recall is exactly 2 places that we actually viewed. We had 5 or 6, maybe 8 referrals, and most of them were not what I was interested in, you know. So it was being really slow, and I said, just be patient, just be patient. It's the first time in my life where I could just take what I wanted as opposed to what was available.
Mm.
And I realized I did some personal work on that one. It's just like I was jumping at everything that was available, even if it wasn't what I wanted. It's like, oh, that's available. Get it, hurry before it goes away. It's like, you don't even want it. Just let it go. You know, but the energy is, I have to have it now. You know, It's like, no, just take a breath. You love where you are. You have an amazing relationship with Luisa and Sidonio and the family, so there's no rush. So I always had to take a beat, take a breath, be calm, and then when there was a place to look at, the idea was hopefully 3 or 4 to look at. When there was one, I would go up and take a look at it, and we'd work it out. So on Friday, we looked at a place, and it's interesting to me energetically, even from the posting that she put on Facebook. Her name is Katerina. She posted a thing saying, or she replied to my post one way or the other. I just said, there's something that's striking me energetically as this feels good. You know, I let Vitor know. We went through the thing. He asked her for some photos. She sent photos. The photos looked really good. And I always use that map to see where the place is in relation to Espinho, which is pretty easy to locate because the streets are all numbers. So north to south, they're even, and west to east, they're odd. So you get a corner, you know exactly where in the city that block is. So we were on Rua 5, which is at the north end of Espinho. And we went to see it on Friday. It was basically everything I was looking for. And
Good news.
And Katerina was just the sweetest, friendliest, bubbly human that you've ever met, and extremely fluent in English. She said that she and her husband and their family spent 3 or 4 years in England, and that's where she got. I said, only 3 or 4 years, and you speak like that, and I'm here 3 years speaking like this.
Yes,
but it just. I told Vitor early on, I'm not in a hurry, and please hold me back when I'm going to jump at something I don't want. I just need a little help managing the emotional, and he was great at that. And the really great thing about having Vitor, especially as an immigrant and someone who's not fluent in the language, is that he mediates everything. And the service he provides is not just finding you a place. It's finding you a place, establishing a relationship with the landlord. And then once that's all done, once you have a place that you like and have negotiated the price and so on and so forth, he will either review the lease they provide or provide a lease that he has ready. And he's all about making sure it's fair for everybody. So it's not all in favor of the tenant or all in favor of the landlord. That's the way he is. He wants things to work for everyone. And he says part of the service also is ongoing. If you ever have an issue with your landlord, then let me know and I can help you, work out whatever needs to be worked out. So it's a really great service. I do highly recommend it. And if Vitor can't do it personally, I'm almost positive he's got someone somewhere in the country who can.
James, can I just pause you there for a minute?
Sure.
We've got, and I'm loving this story. I'm so pleased for you. And let's find out a bit more in just a moment and more about Espinho. Do you like the bagpipes, James?
I do. I love them. They reach into my bone marrow.
Ooh, I say. Okay.
And I thought I was the only one, like in my family. Most people I've talked to go, oh, bagpipes. But it's like, I don't understand it. It's like, they just, I come alive. I feel like I come alive when I hear them. Now, I haven't heard every style, but yeah. And then my brother told me that he had the same reaction to them. And I said, really? I said, okay. And he said, Dad did too. And I said, how bizarre. And with my father, I never knew, short of, the 40s and 50s music he listened to when he was a teenager. I had no idea what his tastes in music were or what he liked. But the piece that then after learning that, I discovered on Ancestry.com that more than half of my genetics are Scottish and very nearly half are Irish. So it's in
the marrow. It is in the marrow.
It just must be. I don't know. And I found out that my sister loved it too. So pretty much, I don't know if my mom did or not. She was the kind of person who just like, yeah, it's nice with every music. So I like it. Okay. Do you really, Mom? Yeah. It's
a treat for you then, for your Scottish side.
Yes, and it's on my list of places to visit. I'm definitely going to spend some time up there at some point.
But before you go there, you need to be settling into this new part.
Back to Espinho.
Yeah, and it is amazing that you referenced the grid. If we zoom in a little bit, that's a very interesting promontory. I think the word for that is.
It's a very modern layout relative to the rest of Portugal.
Yeah,
I'm not sure why that happened. My sense is, because I've seen some old photos, that it was kind of an industrial town. Where they had a train go through it because the train was delivering gravel or petroleum, or I don't know what it was, but it was mostly industrial. And then it started to develop. But when it really took off, looks from the photos appears to be early 20th century.
Yeah.
And at that point, they were, setting it up in a grid. Plus, they have the geology, the geography to be able to do it. It's flat, so they can just lay it out, almost print it on the ground.
Well, it could only have been a very conscious planning decision at that time.
Has this
that sticks out got a cheeky Portuguese name like the Fisherman's Willie or something like that?
I don't know. I've never seen it on a map quite like that. So, because it's not really those aren't really pieces of land. Those are just rock, pieces of what do they call them? I should know these things. Well, anyway, where they put the rocks up to break the. Oh, that's what it is. Now I got the break. Anyway, to create kind of harbor for fishing boats to go out without getting annihilated by the waves that are coming in. Sure. So they've got one at the north end and one at the south end. And they have, from what I've heard, one of the largest outdoor markets in the country. And in my experience, in the world. But I haven't seen the whole world. So, but it is massive, and it's every Monday, rain or shine. So it's
I've driven past it. When we were up in the north, we came back on a Monday through there, and we were held up in the traffic as a result of it.
Yeah,
and there it is. There's your location. So south of Porto.
Just south. It's about 20-30 minute. It's not the train. They have so many different kinds of trains, and it's not the metro. But anyway,
it's not the metro.
The inner city, or whatever they call it, 20 or 30 minutes. The main point about Espinho is that the train station is smack in the center of the city, maybe 200 meters off the ocean. And virtually everything is within a 5-minute walk of that train station. So it just is so accessible. They've got a public hospital. So all the things that I was looking for, they got an ocean. It's flat, so I know I'll get out and walk where I'm not doing it in Ericeira. It's got a public hospital, so I don't have to get on a bus for an hour and a half to get to Lisboa to the hospital, or get on a bus and go a half hour to get to Mafra or Ericeira.
Very good.
So it's more convenient for I don't need it for emergency things, but annual checkups and things like that. So that's where I say it checked off all the boxes. It's not as beautiful in my view as Ericeira is, but it's like, can I live in Ericeira just because it's beautiful? And I love, overlooking the ocean, maybe, but ultimately when I started looking at Espinho, it's like, okay, I think I mentioned before, Ericeira is my mistress and Espinho will be my wife.
How about that?
Someone I can be in love with and live with every day and feel great and support
and the
each
beach
other.
walk, and you can pop back and see Louisa and the family.
Yes, from time to time, and go see my lover and go, oh.
And have one of your cheeky ice creams in the village.
Yes, with 4 Italian gelato places in Ericeira.
Now, you've got your accommodation sorted then. You hit it off with
yes, we've decided, we made the decision. Vitor and Caterina are in the process of putting the lease together. We have not a specific date, but I gave Louisa my 30 days notice that I promised her before I left. And I told Caterina, which actually ended up being another vote in my favor as a choice of tenant, as I said, well, obviously I have the obligation and the sense of responsibility that I have to give Louisa 30 days notice. I told her I would do that, which means I wouldn't be able to move in for 30 days. Is that going to be an issue? And she said, oh, no, it's fine. So
great. Well, I'm very pleased for you, and I imagine we'll be charting your progress in the move there.
More than likely.
Wait. Well, you'll be walking to the seaside. Hopefully, we'll have a few selfies of you in your. I'm thinking maybe espadrilles, no socks, a Don Johnson style Miami Vice suit, the sleeves rolled up on the jacket, t-shirt with that. That's going to be your look, I think, for Espinho.
Probably not, but.
Probably not. Okay, fair enough. On the way to the casino, of course, as a casino.
Whatever the look is, we'll probably what's the look for the standard Portuguese look, strolling on the beach. A lot of what you said was so, but that's more or less probably what it's gonna look like. That more like that.
Mr. S wants to see you in your shorts, of course.
There you go. He's loving who was it? That was JMC who was loving the shorts. But either way, yes.
T-Duck, good morning to you. Bon dia alegria, Gumpers. Feeling a bit under the weather. Sorry to hear that this morning. It's that kind of day as well, isn't it?
I'm always under the weather.
It's true, isn't it, in that sense? And maybe
whatever the weather is, but I understand. Sorry to hear it.
Ash amigo, this morning. Well, great news, James. And I could hear an English voice saying, if you look at the Great Hall.
If you look at the Great Hole.
It sounds like Harry Potter, doesn't it?
Is there a hole here somewhere? Don't fall in.
Hole, not hole, man.
Hole, not hole.
That's why I love living in a foreign country where I can't understand what's going on. I just realized again in that moment, and obviously I'm understanding more of what's going on around me, but I'm so glad not to live in the UK for that reason, where I can understand people. I don't know if that sounds really bad.
Just like
yes, this morning. Thanks everyone for being here on this Monday. That was St. Giles Cathedral. Oh, the 3 beans signified the first Irish coffee, which is obviously traditional in Scotland.
What? My brain just got so confused.
Would you like Marmite on that? Congratulations on
pastel granata.
We'll be needing some Worcestershire sauce on that as well. Right.
Which is reminding me of the meme. Have you seen it?
I did, yes. It was
the opposite. It was the best of shires. It was the Worcestershires.
Very, very good, Katya. She is great. She's the meme queen.
Yeah, she is.
Right, and congratulations on finding a new place, James, as well.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited and happy for being done with finding
the extended version of you today. Thank you for hanging out with me a little bit longer. Not unlike
wasn't it fine?
It was, and the way that it sticks out in Espinho, just like on the map.
There you go. 2 of them.
And let us one more video, the message from Bob and Viv, and then the bagpipes. And thank you so much for being with us this morning. We'll see you again tomorrow
Absolutely
morning.
my pleasure. See you in a week.
All right. Take care, mate. Bye for now. Stay on.